marriage great? Now, if I was a young preacher, I'd probably come out here and ask you, who feels like that? No, but I'm not doing it. Who thinks marriage is like that? Marriage is great. We're going to wrap up our marriage series, and if you want to jump on some scripture, you can open a Bible up to Genesis chapter 2, very first book, and it's all laid out by chapters and verses, and so we're going to get there. But I want to walk through a couple things, and my heart is full today, and so I want to jump through just some things in my heart, some things that are open to you, and I want to thank you for some things. And so let me start off by saying our board of directors, our leadership works really hard, and I'm privileged to work with them. And our board of directors is looking for some nominations, and so today is the last day that you can do that. If you want to nominate somebody that you think fits well our leadership scheme here, you can do that at FYI. Also, coming up next month is Family Dedication Day, so if you've had a baby or recently you've had a baby, we would love to honor that. And if you want to just tell me, hey, my family, we're going to be Jesus followers, and we want everybody to know that, and we're going to have some gifts for you, you can let Laura know. Yes, I will let her up here again. Is Laura here? Okay, so Laura, I'm going to fess up, and this is, if you're brand new here, I'm sorry, but I'm twisted. As soon as you said for the ladies' night thing, you know, guys can come, but it has to be retained to ladies, I'm thinking, man, I'm going to bring some power tools. Yeah, I'd like to buy some makeup. Yeah, I got this power tool. And anyway, I'm not doing it, but that's where my mind went twisted, I'm telling you. So also going on is something that we are involved in, and that is the Sale That Saves. And yeah. So yesterday, we were able to rescue 4 people out of sex trafficking. We are $500 away from rescuing a 5th, and that sale goes from 1 to 5 today, and our goal is to rescue just 1 more. I mean, that is not 5, but just it's always going to be we want to rescue 1 more. And so you can check that out. If you need information on that, please let us know. We'll get you there. Also, man, this is kind of cool. I have a runway now. So, I mean, y'all need to look out because I'm going to be moving around. And I know Luke and his crew did a lot of work this week. And so thank you for that. And would you thank Luke and the crew for helping us? Yeah. Our men's retreat went really well, and we had a speaker that you didn't have to guess what he was thinking because, man, he told you. And so it was a really good weekend for our guys to be together. And so thank you for all of the work there. Also, let's see what else I got on here. CR, Celebrate Recovery. We got a 1-year anniversary, and we're going to have a video. We're going to celebrate that end of service, so please don't run away because we are going to eat cake. I'll take that. I don't know if there's ice cream or not, but yeah. It's pretty cool. So since we're celebrating, y'all want to celebrate anything? Anybody want to celebrate something? Well, that's kind of like weak. I want to celebrate. You guys want to celebrate? All right, let me hear it. All right. I'm just checking. We're going to have a little pep rally here this morning. We had an awesome concert here last week. We really enjoyed hosting Side of Prophets, Kurt Anderson, Mark Stewart from Audio A, and I want to thank Laura did a great job. Linda came alongside of her. Our staff just went above and beyond, and a bunch of volunteers, and so would you just say thank you for all of those folks who, yeah. So now, this is what jumped at me. I mean, I'll do whatever I have to do, and it's fine. And I love what I do, just not every day. But man, I love helping God's kingdom go further, faster. And so now I want to tell you what the artist said about us. And so they said they're never coming back. No, they didn't say that. This is from Cho. Cho is I love talking to Cho. He is their manager, their traveling pastor that goes with them. I'm going to read this quote that he sent on Monday. He said, "Good morning. I wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for everything that you and your amazing team did yesterday, ! We got on the bus last night and we talked about what an amazing time you guys had prepared for us." This is what jumped at me right here, so I want you to take this in. "We can definitely see the willingness and the dedication to serve a great and mighty God. I do hope we get to serve alongside each other in the future." So thank you, church, for what you did. Yeah. Sometimes, we plug away and we work, and we serve, and then it's like, man, are we doing anything? And then for somebody to come in that travels around and does stuff with churches all the time to say, man, we see your willingness to serve God. I'm like, thank you. That's just, it props us up. So Mark Stewart from Audio Adrenaline, he was their former lead guy. This is what he is doing. Mark Stewart was here last week, and God has led him to start a ministry to help children get out of poverty, like places like Haiti. Been to Haiti. It's the poorest place I've ever been in my life. It just something. So anyway, this is what Mark Stewart was doing. He's trying to get people and churches to help rescue children out of poverty. And last week at the concert, he was really excited that 18 children no longer have to face poverty all on their own because of your support. They're actually going to get a hand up in life. And so thank you for that. And I'm now going to quote him. This is what he said. In the past couple of years, God's church has stepped up to lift up 50% of children out of poverty, and we had a part of that last week, and we're going to have a continuing part of that moving forward. So it's exciting to me that we are doing something at CCW, and we're seeing a difference being made, and the cause of God helping his kingdom go further, faster. It's really cool to me to see. So let's get back to marriage. Marriage, no one slides into a good marriage, and happily ever after is just from a movie. It's just a line. The only way you're going to have a happy or long-lasting marriage is if you work at it. If you agree, just say yes. And there are times you don't feel like working at it. If you agree, just say yes. I'm just going to be honest. I want to play with this. There are times that it's just, whoo, it's you dream stupid things, you wake up, I'm like, I'm mad at you. What do I do? Never mind. It's not the nail. It's something else. But anyway, we have to work. So I'm going to give you a really quick review of the last 3 weeks. The first week, we talked about emotional closeness, emotional unity, the friendship, the companion, the partner, and we're going back to Genesis 2. Week number 2, we talked about physical closeness, the sex talk. I just like saying it that way, making people nervous. I don't even know who said this to me, but this is what he told me. Dave, I had my grandchildren in church on the sex talk day, and do you know how many times you said the word sex that day? I'm like, I have no idea. My grandchildren counted. I'm like, sorry. God expects us to be together emotionally and physically, and last week we talked about spiritually and all of the hindrances that get in the way spiritually. God expects us to be close spiritually. Now today, I want to talk about the pursuit of marriage. Now here's what I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the pursuit to get married. I want to talk about the pursuit of marriage. You see, after every ceremony, there comes a wedding, or there comes a marriage. After every ceremony, there comes a marriage. We plan and 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 we plan, and sometimes we have a term now that we use called bridezilla. We plan on that day. And we have this ceremony, and then, man, the reception better be over the top, and you better have helicopters dropping your ushers off or whatever it is, and it gets huge. And so we plan on this day. But after that day comes life. So here's my question. Don't answer it out loud. How enthusiastic are you pursuing your marriage? How enthusiastic are you in pursuing your marriage? What number would you give yourself? Not what number would you give your spouse? What number would you give yourself? 0 is absolutely lazy. I'm doing nothing to improve my marriage. To 10 is I am super excited, enthusiastic, and I am working at marriage. What number would you give yourself about how enthusiastic you are? Awesome. I can see that, can't you? Hey, baby, come here. Woohoo! Anyway, I want to show you a video from the movie Fireproof that came out several years ago, and so let's go ahead and roll this clip. Our hearts can trick us. And God tells us that our hearts are desperately wicked. Who knows it? So if we're going to be 100% honest, which I don't know why we wouldn't, talking about marriage anyway. If we're going to be 100% honest, we would have to admit that there are days that we are lazy in marriage. And if we're going to be honest, then we would also have to admit that there are times that our hearts have gone other places. And it doesn't necessarily have to be another person. It could be things and stuff. It can be just chasing after our hobbies. It could be chasing after what I want. There are times that that thing that we're all born with raises its ugly head in our marriages, and that word is called selfish. And man, that can pop up and get in the way, and we would have to also admit this. There are times that our marriages are not as exciting as they used to be. This is what I love to tell people. Man, that sweaty palm feeling you got right now, one day that's going away, and it's coming soon, brother. I think we were married for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It's the first time she elbowed me in the mouth when we were sleeping. She says she was sleeping. There are times that we would have to admit that our marriages are not as exciting as they used to be, and in fact, they feel more like a dry desert. And it's in those times, it's in the times that we're lazy, in the times that our hearts have gone someplace else, in the times that marriage feels dry, that is the time that we must work the hardest and pursue our marriage the hardest. And it is work. And so we get after this to pursue our marriage. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, to Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. We've talked about this several of the weeks, and I'm just grabbing one verse today. I'm grabbing one verse because I don't want us to miss this. Genesis 2:24 says, "This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one." Now, there's a lot of times I don't give you Greek and Hebrew, but this portion of Scripture was written originally in Hebrew, and so I want to give you some translations. I want to give you the Hebrew word. This word joined, or maybe your translation says united or holds fast to, bond, or Old King James says cleave. We use that term a lot, man. You leave father, mother, and you cleave to your spouse. We throw that in real fast. But in Hebrew, this word is debak. And I don't know if who cares if you know how to pronounce and all this stuff. But this cleave word, this joined word is debak. And I want to give you several other examples in Scripture how this word debak is used. And so we start off, yeah. Okay, I got to stick to my spouse. Yeah. Okay, let me give you some Scripture because I want to get this picture so driven into our hearts and into our minds. Deuteronomy 10:20, same Hebrew word. "You must fear the Lord your God and worship him and cling to him," debak. "Your oaths must be in his name alone." Psalm 22:15, "My strength has dried up like sun-baked clay. My tongue sticks," debak, "to the roof of my mouth. You have laid me in the dust and left me for dead." Psalm 63:8, "I cling, debak, to you. Your strong right hand holds me securely." Ruth chapter 1, verse 14, "And again they wept together, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung tightly, debak, to Naomi." Keep going. 1 Samuel 14:22, military. "When all Israelites who had hidden in the hill country of Ephraim heard that the Philistines were on the run, they joined the battle in hot pursuit." Debak, they joined in hot pursuit. And they're talking about this creature called Leviathan in Job. Job 41:15-17 says, "His back has rows of shields tightly sealed together. Each is so close to the next that no air can pass between. They are joined fast to one another. They cling together and cannot be parted." Debak. Judges 20:45, New King James says this, "Then they turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, and they cut down 5,000 of them on the highways." Military. "Then they pursued them relentlessly." Debak. "To get them and kill 2,000 of them." I am telling you what, prepping for this talk, man, I could not wait to get home and hug my wife this week. Because when I get this picture, and I hope you're getting it, I hope you get this picture. I mean, the words that pop out of these texts from Hebrew, this debak, it means cling to, stick to, cling tightly, join in hot pursuit, cling together, cannot be parted, pursue relentlessly. I don't want to talk, I got a headache. You know what? I'm going to pursue you relentlessly. We're going to fix this. We're going to talk. I'm not going to go do my own thing. You know what? We got to work on this. You know, this is telling you how our marriage has changed over the years. Because when I found out my wife's love language was mine's words of admiration, but quality time for her. And so now I'll take her on dates, and she's like hours, and I'm like, you just use 3 times more words than I do in the whole day. So Friday we go to lunch, and I'm sitting there, and we've been busy, and it's like we're just talking, and she goes to get up, and I'm like, where are you going? And she goes, oh, we got to go to the store, and we got to do this, and we got to do this, and we got to do this. And I'm like, oh, I forgot I'm supposed to make you happy. And then we laugh, you know. But this whole thing is, I'm not going anywhere. And you're stuck with me until one of us dies, until we're going in the grave, because I'm going to pursue you relentlessly. This whole Genesis 2:24, the way God set it up, and so I'm going to read it with these other words in it. I know it's probably huge on the screen coming, but this verse is kind of twisted for me. This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Really easy to read. They cling to each other. They stick to each other. They cling tightly to each other. They are in hot pursuit of each other. They cling together and cannot be parted. They are pursuing relentlessly each other. So church, CCW, what would your spouse do? What would it do for your spouse if your spouse heard you say those things to them? I will always cling to you. I will always stick to you. I will always cling tightly to you. I will always be in hot pursuit of you. I will always cling to you, and nothing will part us. I will always be pursuing you relentlessly. I'm not going anywhere. I meant the vows that I gave you, the vows that I said before God, and all of those people who have the right to remind me of the vows that we said. I am telling you I meant that. The Hebrew word, yes, it means to stick together, but in Hebrew, it means to pursue. And it's present tense. The grammar is present tense. You can never stop pursuing your spouse. Good, bad, and ugly, not just a movie. You got to keep pursuing. So when you communicate those things to your spouse, you have to think it. Okay, I'm going to pursue. I mean, you got to think it. And then you start saying it. Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say I think it. I'm going to say it. And then what happens, you start to believe it. You think it, say it, believe it. And then what happens, it starts coming out in your actions. It starts to have some proof to what you say and what you believe and what you think. And for those of you sitting there like, yeah, preacher, I'm just not feeling it. You have no idea what I have to put up with. You have no idea where I've been. You're right, I don't. But this is what I believe. You keep thinking it, you keep saying it, pretty soon you're going to start to believe it, and pretty soon it's going to come out in your actions. You lead your heart, you lead your mind. Whatever you put in here is going to come out. I told my son that the other day. We're talking about this and that and the other, and I'm like, man, brother, whatever you put in there, it's good. When you least expect, it's coming out. So be careful what you put into your head. So start putting in this positive, I am not leaving, I'm going to keep working, and I'm telling you what, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not feeling it right now, but I'm pursuing. And I'm going to do, you can't control your spouse. How many of you have learned that over the years? It's like, man, that's wisdom right there. You know what? If you're not married, you can't control anybody. You can't even control yourself sometimes. Anybody want to say yeah to that? Yeah, you know, it's so basically all we really can control sometimes is our reaction to things. You know, I don't really like the weather. I'd rather be 85 and I could be in shorts and a t-shirt. You know, but then I'd scare you with all my muscles, so I don't know if that's a good idea. Control yourself. Plant into your mind the positives of marriage. Man, it's exclusive. I have a companion. I have a partner. And you start telling yourself, and you'll start believing it. You start saying it. It comes out in your actions. And when you do, I believe your marriage is going to be rock solid. But you can't just be lazy. There are no rock solid marriages from being lazy. So I want to give you 4 very simple ways to pursue your spouse that I believe will pay off huge, if I could say it that way. Huge, is that how I'm supposed to say it? Anyway, I believe that this will pay off in an incredible way. 4 very simple things that you can do to pursue your spouse as we start pulling this whole series together. Number 1, the first is recognize how you judge your spouse. Recognize how you process your spouse. This is what we do. I'll do whatever I'm doing, and then my wife will get uptight, and then we'll have this chat, and she'll say, you hurt me, but this is what I say. I didn't intend to. So we're good, right? Well, still hurt her. We judge our spouses based on what they do, and we judge ourselves based on our intentions. Not what we do, but our intentions. So when we start to recognize the process, how we judge each other, maybe I should ask my wife, did you intend to elbow me in the mouth? No. I might have a different conversation. Give some grace and recognize that you judge yourself on intentions and you look at actions. So here's the proof. You want proof? You want proof that you're actually working on your marriage? Here's the proof. Pay attention to the gap, how big of a gap is between what you say and what you do. I'm telling you right now, in marriage, in most life actually, talk is really cheap. You can say all kinds of stuff. Yeah, love you, 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 and then not lift a finger to make marriage better. What is the gap between what you say and what you do? If all you ever do is talk and you don't do anything, then you got a big gap. So pay attention to your gap. Okay, number 2, think something. If I think something good, say it. Say that with me. If I think something good, say it.
If I think something good, say it.
Say it. Just say it. Hebrews 3:13. But encourage one another. What's that word? Not when you, I guess you could use some encouragement. Man, it's like a bunch of Eeyores in marriage. Yeah, it's an okay day, I guess. Encourage one another daily as long as it's called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. Hebrews 10:24. Man, I'll tell you what, in church world, we jump to verse 25 all the time because it says don't stop going to church. Man, we focus and we camp on that and we skip over verse 24. But I think verse 24 is much more powerful and stronger than verse 25 because this is what it says in verse 24. Let us think of ways to motivate. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good deeds. Man, I'm telling you what, if you're a turkey in your marriage or a turd or whatever you want to say, and then all of a sudden you expect that spouse to be, it ain't happening. You got to think and say and motivate your spouse to love and good deeds. It's what it says. So for the guys, I'm going to give you what to say. You can fill in the blank, but I'm going to give you what to say. Sometimes us guys, we need some help. So here's your help, guys. Your wife needs words of affection, tenderness. For example, do this. I love you because. I love you because. And all of a sudden she's like, oh, you're my man. I love you because. If my wife does that to me, I'm just going to start laughing. Oh, you're my man. Yeah, okay, whatever. Ladies, your husband needs words of affirmation because they're the old gunslinger. They come home from work. How's your day? Fine. You can have the worst day ever. How's your day? Good. Fine. That is the one word lie that we give all the time, especially in church. How you doing? Fine. What a lie. We just don't want to say. It's like, basically, this is what your husband's saying. I have used up all of the words that I use normally and every day, and I'm coming home and I'm tapped out. I'm just good. Where's the remote? I got my thumb exercises to do. So ladies, say this to your spouse. I believe in you because. Just imagine, ladies, imagine your husband says to you, man, I just want you to know I love you because. That means he's thought about it. And ladies, when you go to your husband, man, they're hardworking men. They're the gunslinger, man. They've already had their in the street duel, and they come home and they're tired and they're just trying to provide for their family. And then you come up, man, thank you for working so hard. I believe in you because. And man, it's going to just, when we do this for each other, it's going to just prop that chin up. Like, this is good. This is good. So, if you think something good, say it. And so here's your target. Here's your goal. Say something good to your spouse once a day before next Sunday. 7 things. I'm only asking for 7 things. Say something good once a day before next Sunday. Okay, number 3. If I think something special, do it. Say that with me, CCW. If I think something special, just do it. Don't be lazy. This is what James 4:17 says. Remember, it is a sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it. And if God puts something in your head and you're like, nah, it's sin. I'm not saying it. God is. If you think of something and you know what you ought to do and don't do it. So this is what I'm telling you. You should get an F in something. You should get an F in procrastinating and doing something special for your spouse. Fail at procrastinating at doing something for your spouse. That's the only thing I'm asking you to fail at. Just fail at procrastinating to do it. Just do it today. Not tomorrow, just this intention thing, do it today. So here's your target, shoot to do one special thing for your spouse every day. It does not have to be big. It does not have, well, I just bought her chocolates last year for Valentine's Day. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be simple like this. Fold the laundry that doesn't belong to you. And when you're folding your wife's underwear, don't wad it up in a ball like you. I try to fold like my wife. I fail. And I'm like, I'm not even going to ask her to show me again. It's like, okay, for the 300th time, I don't know how to fold a T-shirt. So here you go. It's like morph triangle, whatever. Just do it. It doesn't have to be super big. Just communicate, I was thinking about you. I want to do something special for you. Just do it. Number 4, last one. This is big. If I want something to be different, do it and be it. Say it with me. If I want something to be different, do it and be it. Man, we can bark a lot. I don't like this. 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 Really? I didn't get that. You don't like it? No, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Why do you do this? Why are you like your father? Why? Oh, stop. If you want something different, you got to do something different. You got to be something different. This is what Ephesians 5:15 and 16 from Amplified Translation says. Look carefully how you walk. We don't. I guarantee you that most of us today, we're going to get in our cars or our trucks, and we're going to drive home, and we're not even going to think about what route to take because we just do it. We just get where we got to go. We've done it a million times over, so I'm going to get in my truck. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to think about, man, it's been a really long time since I've had Papa John's. I'll probably think that, and then I go home. And this says right here, look carefully then how you, this means live. Look carefully how you live. Live purposefully and worthily and accurately, not as the unwise, lazy person in marriage, and witless, we're smarter than this, but as wise, sensible, intelligent people. making the most of the time, buying up every opportunity because the days are evil. Now, I guarantee you that there are people sitting next to you, they wish that they were still married. You know, they've been married a long, long, long time and their spouse is gone. And man, they just wish that they could have one more day to hug that person. There are times that I think about, I've lost my mom and my dad and my brother. And so I'm the only family member left. And there are days, man, I wish I could have one more conversation. Man, my dad used to yell at the TV. I wonder what he would be yelling about baseball today. You think about this, and then I'll tell you what, man, life is short. And it goes by. I mean, we've been married 32 years. Now, I don't jump out of bed anymore. You know why? Because it hurts too much. And it's like, oh. Life goes by so fast. So if you want something different in your marriage, if you want a great marriage, you have to do what you've never done. If you want a great marriage to return, then you have to return to what you used to do. It doesn't just automatically happen. If you want something to change, if you want something to be different, then I encourage you, I challenge you, do something different once a day. You have to be an agent of change. You have to do something different if you want a different outcome. Surprise your spouse. Hey, I just want to tell you, I appreciate you. Who are you? Give him a heart attack. Collect that life insurance. I'm just kidding. What I'm saying is this. If you want a great marriage, you have to pursue it. It just doesn't fall into your lap. You have to work at this. It takes work. And now there's two things that are huge. You're not going to have a great marriage if you don't have these two things in your marriage. Okay? Two things. Number one, you'll never have a great marriage without apologies. There are times that I've done stuff and my wife gets hurt or whatever, and my intentions were good. I never, ever want to hurt my wife, ever. And then there are times she'll come to me and say, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say this to her. I'll ask her, would it help you if I apologized to you? Yes, it would. And I'm telling you, years ago, I'm like, I'm not apologizing. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't cross any lines here. You just read it wrong. You're the turd. I mean, come on. That helps, doesn't it? And so this is where I've grown in this. And she's actually confirmed this. And so tell me, I need an apology here. It would be helpful. And so I step back. And I think, like, you know what? I see it. I get it. I see it. And then usually within a short period of time, because I don't want to apologize if I don't mean it. That's just fake. That doesn't help anything. So then I'll go back to her and say, I see it. I see what you're saying. And I don't want there to be anything between us. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? Because that's number two. If there are no apologies in your marriage, you will not have a great marriage. Number two, if there's no forgiveness in your marriage, you will not have a great marriage. You have to release. You have to let it go. There are times that I'm just still an idiot. Chief of idiots. Yeah, that's me. There are things that I've done to my wife or said to my wife or embarrassed her or whatever. And then later on, I'm like, well, I gotta go to her. And I'll ask her to forgive me. And typically she'll say something, I forgave you a long time ago. Like, man, she's my better 99%. I don't deserve this. Apologies and forgiveness are required for a good marriage. If you agree, just say yes. It's required. If you want a great marriage, until death do us part marriage, the only way I know to achieve that is with God's help and doing it God's way. It's the only way I know. I mean, there are people who make it. There are people who are married a long time. But if you want a great marriage, a happy marriage, man, I can't believe I get to do life with this person marriage, the only way I know to do this is with God's help and his way. So I'm not going to put up on the screen today. Imagine this with me. I'm going to put up that scripture, Genesis 2:24, with all of the inserts from the Hebrew Debak. Genesis 2:24. This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. They cling to each other. They stick to each other. They cling tightly to each other. They are in hot pursuit of each other. They cling together and cannot be parted. They are pursuing relentlessly each other. So I'm just going to ask you to stand, please. And I don't know if we can drop the lights in the house. I didn't ask that question, but if we could maybe just keep the lights up here and drop the lights in the house, that would be awesome. And if you're with your spouse today, I'm just going to ask you to grab that person's hand. Just hang on. So husband and wife, you going to work at this? This is what I want you to do, husband and wife, spouse, today. This has to be done today. Not tomorrow, not before next Sunday. Today. I want you to grab your spouse in some private spot, some private moment. And I want this to be face to face. And I want you to look in your spouse's eyes, straight in the eyes. And I want you to say this. I am pledging to you today, I will keep pursuing you. In fact, I will never stop pursuing you. This is my pledge. This is my vow. I am never going to stop pursuing you. Until I go in the grave, I want you to relax in this relationship because I'm not going anywhere. You can count on me until the day I die. There are so many things that are going to come out of that. Your spouse is going to relax. That's my man. Always going to be my man. I don't have to retrain him because he told me he's not going anywhere. The husband, I don't have to worry about what's going on. I trust her. She told me. She told me she's not going anywhere. She pledged to me that we're going to fix whatever we got. Because God says that we pursue relentlessly. Let me pray for you. Father, I don't know why this is hitting me the way it is, but I love marriage. I love the way you set up life. Some days it's not as exciting as it used to be. Some days it's dry, but it is a good life. I thank you for the woman you gave me. She's such a good temper for me. She helps me be steady. She's my sounding board. She's a great mom to our kids. God, I truly believe this planet is better because Lisa walks on it. And so I've just told my church family what to do. And I want to model that right now. I am asking that you bless Lisa's life. Bless it with good health. Bless it with incredible vision and focus of what you've called her to do in her life. Keep her safe. Help her to have joy. Help her to relax in her relationship. Help her to have fun. And help me not to be such an idiot, but to demonstrate my love for her every day. And God, I am praying for everybody standing in front of me. Anybody listening to this prayer. Help us not to be lazy. Help us to pursue. God, we make tons of mistakes. But we don't have to keep making those mistakes. Because of Jesus, he came and he died on the cross. And he paid for those mistakes. If your son, if there is so much power in you, God, that your son could die on the cross and actually be in a tomb 3 days and 3 nights and come back to life, then I know you can help us in marriage. There is nothing too big. And so, Father, help us. Help us at CCW to show this world what it looks like to have great marriages. I pray, Father, for those who need to give apologies. I pray for those who need to grant forgiveness. We cannot do that apart from your strength and your hope and your vision. So, God, give us the strength that we need, all of us, to release and forgive. And God, lastly, I pray this. Help us to have great marriages, to have joy, to have peace. So I give every single marriage into your very, very capable hands, God. Thank you for teaching us and showing us how to do this. Thank you for setting up the whole family unit. We love you. We love what you've done. Now go before us and help us to follow you every day. In Jesus' name I pray.